Welcome to Learn at Home live session. I'm glad you are joining us today. Just sit back, tell your friends it is that time again when we learn together. You know, every Saturday, 11 a.m., we're here to learn together. In our session today, what is it going to be like? Our session today will go through introduction, then the objective we are going to achieve today. Then we'll discuss the content of our lesson. After that, we'll be going on a very short break. I will be coming back for a question and answer session, after which we wrap up, and we'll see you the next Saturday. I'm your host for today. My name is Samson Bolariwa. I'll be taking you through the subject biology, and the topic we'll be considering today is transport system in animals. Transport system in animals. Take a look at two different words there, transport and system. System to us as biology students is not strange. When you think back in SS1, you have come across a topic, organization of life, where you were taught how living things are built up from the simplest form to the complex form. And it goes thus, where we have cell as the first level of organization, followed by tissue, organ, then system. And remember, we have various systems in the body of organisms. I'm sure you can mention 5, 6, even 7 systems in our body. For example, reproductive system, respiratory system, excretory system, nervous system. So these are the systems we have in the body. Now, transport system is just one of the systems in the body. So this system is what we're going to be looking at today. And the word transport. Transport, just like we know, even in the normal English in your social studies, transportation has to do with movement of people and goods from one place to another. The same way, we'll be looking at how materials are moved in organisms. So that's all this topic will be addressing. It's a broad topic. However, we'll try and focus on a particular aspect of transport system. Perhaps in subsequent sessions, we'll be looking at other aspects of transport system. Now, what are the objectives we want to achieve today? In our class today, we shall learn to define transport system. We shall identify the needs for transportation in living organisms. We shall identify materials that are transported in animals. And finally, we'll be looking at the mechanism of transportation in mammals, especially in man. So these are the objectives that we are going to achieve today. So sit back as we learn this together. What is transport system? When we talk about transport system, it's a system that is responsible for transportation of materials in the body of organisms. Not just like a normal transport that is moving goods or people from one place to another. So also in our body, materials are moved constantly from one point to another, from one part of the body to another, either from where the materials are produced or obtained, to where they are either used, stored, or removed from the body. So you can define transport system as a system that is responsible for the movement of metabolic materials. That metabolic there is talking about different chemical reactions that have taken place in the body. The materials that are either produced as a result of that or that gets into the body as a result of that. So these materials are moved either from where they are produced or where they are obtained to where they are used, stored, or where they are removed from the body, either in unicellular or multicellular organisms. There is need for materials to be moved in and out. However, in unicellular organisms like paramecium, amoeba, unicellular organisms like that, they don't have an efficient transport system. They don't have a well-developed transport system because of their small size, or we say the large surface area to volume ratio. So in unicellular organisms such as amoeba, what they use for transportation is the term we call diffusion. I'm sure you can remember that term, diffusion. By definition, diffusion is the movement of molecules from a region of high concentration to a region of lower concentration until everything is evenly distributed. So that's diffusion. That is the means of transportation in lower organisms, or you say in unicellular organisms. But in multicellular organisms, just like you and I, we have a well-developed transport system that helps in moving materials from one place to another. Because diffusion is not efficient enough to move materials from one point to another in multicellular organisms. Why is diffusion not efficient enough? Reason is very simple. There are a lot of materials that need to be moved from one place to another, and in multicellular organisms, there is a small surface area to volume ratio in the body of multicellular organisms. In some materials, you see a term like this. Surface area to volume ratio. In unicellular, we have large surface area to volume ratio, while in multicellular, we have a small surface area to volume ratio. You may come across some questions like this. The question will just state that, why is diffusion not enough for movement of materials in multicellular organisms? This is the reason. Because there is a small surface area to volume ratio in multicellular, and materials that need to be moved from one place to another, they are large in quantities. So we'll be focusing on how materials are moved in multicellular, especially in man. Don't forget the definition of transport system as we move on. Now, why the need for transportation in organisms? That takes us to the need. Why should materials be moved from one place to another? We have three reasons we'll be looking at. Number one, materials need to be moved in organisms from one place to another so that organisms or cells in the body can obtain essential materials, knowing fully well that there is possibility that where the material is produced or absorbed is different from where it is needed. So for this reason, there is need for the material to be moved from where it is produced to where it is needed, or from where it is obtained. Don't forget from the definition of transport system, movement of materials from where they are produced or obtained to where they are needed, used, stored, or removed. Second reason, why transportation in organisms? Transportation is needed to remove metabolic waste. Constantly, due to metabolic activities in the body, there are materials that are produced and they need to be removed from the body because they are toxic. They are poisonous to the body. And these materials we need to move from where they are produced as waste products out of the body. So hence, the need for transport system in organisms. And lastly, Transport system is needed to move materials from the point of production to where they are needed. That is another reason for transport system in organisms. What are these materials that are moved from one place to another? We'll be looking at some of these materials that are moved from one point to another. There are many materials, but we're looking at just few of them. And these are water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, amino acids, vitamins, and mineral salts. These materials are constantly moved in the body of organisms. Glucose, all the end products. Remember, when you eat amino, you eat proteinous food, then you have amino as the end product. Now, when the end product is produced, there is need for it to be moved from that point to where it is needed. So these are materials that are moved from one place to another. Then, now that we know the materials that are moved, how are they being moved? Are there vehicles moving them from one place to another in the body? Just like in a normal transport system, we have means of transportation. Some will say by land, by water. So also in the body, we have two media responsible for the movement of materials from one point to another. Two major ones. The first one is the blood. Blood is a liquid tissue, meaning it's at the second level of organization. Remember, cell, tissue, organ, and system. In describing a term, we try to explain some of the features. Now, I said blood is a tissue. So that is to tell you that it's in the second level of organization of life. So it's a tissue in our body, and it consists of two main things. These are plasma and blood cells. The blood as a medium of transportation consists of two main things: plasma and blood cells. The plasma is a liquid component of the blood, while the blood cells, they are the solid parts. So for blood cells to move from one place to another, they are carried by plasma. So these are the components of blood. Then the second medium that is used for transportation in organism is lymph. Lymph. Lymph, it's a fluid that is colorless, and it is present in the lymphatic system. That is what we call lymphatic system. Lymph is similar, but not exactly the same as blood. Similar in the sense that they are both liquid, or you say fluid. However, lymph is in the lymphatic system, while the blood is in the circulatory system. Now, what is the component of lymph? Lymph consists of a cell called lymphocyte. Lymphocyte. Just like the blood consists of plasma and blood cells. When we say lymphocyte is a type of white blood cell. This is a type of white blood cell that helps to fight infections in the body. You must have heard that before, that, oh, white blood cells, they protect the body, they help to fight against germs. So lymphocyte is a type of white blood cell that helps to fight infection in the body. So it makes up the immune system of the body. that will prevent you from falling sick when you have any strange material in your body. What are the features of transport system? Any transport system in the body of organism should have these three major features. In an efficient transport system, there should be a circulating fluid, there should be a pumping device, and there should be a system of branch tubes or vessels. Now let me liken this to the water system in our homes. At home, we have a machine for you to get water. There is need for a machine which we call pumping machine, because it helps to pump water from the ground. Apart from that machine, once the machine is helping you to get the water, you need pipes that will take the water from where the machine is getting the water to either the kitchen or the toilet or any other apartment at home. Now, this is helping us to understand features of a transport system. In any transport system, we said there must be a pumping device. A pumping device here in the body of man is the heart. It's the one that helps to pump. And now the fluid, just like you have water that this machine is pumping, the same way we have the blood that is being pumped. And just like you have pipes taking that water from the pumping machine to where it is needed, we have vessels, which we call blood vessels. So in any efficient transport system, these three features must be in place: a pumping device, a circulating fluid, and also a vessel that will help in carrying. So in our own, that of man, we have the heart as a pumping device, the circulating fluid is the blood, and we have the blood vessels. Now, talking about blood vessels, majorly in the body of man, we have three major blood vessels. I'm sure you still remember them. We have the veins, we have the arteries, and we have capillaries. These are the vessels that help to transport the blood from the heart to the body and back to the heart. We'll be looking at them one after the other. Talking about veins, they are blood vessels that help to take blood to the heart. Don't forget, veins takes blood to the heart, while arteries take blood away from the heart. I think you can relate that. Arteries away takes blood away from the heart. Now, capillaries is a blood vessel that is connecting arteries and veins together. It is actually structured in a way that from the heart we have arteries. Let's say we have this representing the heart, and we have this arteries. Then we have the body. Then from the body, here we have veins. Now, arteries, they are branched into what we call tiny arteries called arterioles. So from arterioles, here we now have capillaries. 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 Is the one that is connecting the artery to the veins. So also we have vein branch into tiny veins called venous. So that's that on blood vessels. So 3 major features that must be in place in any transport system: a pumping device, a circulating fluid, and also a vessel. Take note. Now, these you have on your screen. These are the features we have mentioned. To your left there, you see the diagram. That's the heart, the mammalian heart. And you see the blue, the red, standing like a ladder. That is the blood vessel. You have the blue there, you have the red, then you have the network at the middle. That is the capillary. So look at the vessel, that's the vessel. Then we have the circulating fluid by the right, showing the blood cells and also the plasma. Don't forget to say blood consists of the plasma and blood cells. Now, what are the types of transport system that we have? In animals, we have 2 major types of transport system, or we call it circulatory system. It can also be referred to as circulatory system because it is continuous. It moves continually. So that's why we either call it transport system or circulatory system. So next time when you hear transport system, you should know that we are also referring to circulatory system. 2 major groups. We have open and closed circulatory systems, and we have single and double circulatory systems. We'll be looking at them one after the other. What do we mean by open circulatory system? And what do we mean by closed circulatory system? Now, when we talk about open circulatory system, we refer to it as open because when the circulating fluid moves from the heart to the vessels, they are now released into the space in the body. If you have a vessel here, you have the heart. From the heart to the vessel. Before it can get to another vessel, it is released into empty space. Called hemocoel. The empty space is called hemocoel. This kind of circulatory system is common in insects. Or generally speaking, we just say arthropods. Remember, the class Insecta is one of the class under phylum Arthropoda, just like you have other classes. So it is referred to as open circulatory system because the circulating fluid is released into the space in the body. It's not confined into vessels. Before it can move from one vessel to another, it is released into the space. As you can see in the diagram, that it is released. That blue, you can see that the blue substance you see there is released into the space, and that is why it is called open. Now, when you look at that one that is referred to as closed, you will discover that from one vessel to another, the circulating fluid, they are enclosed. They are not released outside, unlike that of the open, whereby the 2 vessels don't meet. But for closed circulatory system, the vessels meet, and by so doing, they don't allow the circulating fluid to just flow aimlessly around the body. But in open circulatory system, the circulating fluid flows in the body space, which we refer to as hemocoel, in the body of the insect. And that is why it is called open circulatory system, because it is not confined into a space. This is common in insect, like I said. And for that of closed circulatory system, this is common mostly in vertebrates animal, vertebrates. You remember vertebrates? And also in some invertebrates, like annelids, closed circulatory system. It's common in vertebrates, animals, and some invertebrates, or we just say an annelids. Annelids are invertebrates, while open is common in insects. So take notes, in open circulatory system, the circulating fluid flows around the body, in the body space, and they get in touch with the organs and the tissues in the body. While in the closed circulatory system, they are confined into the blood vessels. So that's what we mean by open and closed circulatory system. Now let's look at the second category of circulatory system. This will help us so they can be grouped into two. We have open and closed. Then we have single and double. So these are the two groups. I've explained this and this. Now, what do we mean by single and what do we mean by double circulation? Now, the word single and the word double, it's as a result of the number of times that blood is going to pass through the heart. That is what we use in classifying the circulatory system into single and double. So for organisms in which the blood will just pass through the heart once, when they make complete circulation, we refer to that circulatory system as single circulatory system. While in organisms where the blood will pass through the heart twice before it makes complete circulation, we refer to it as double circulation. Now, organisms such as fish, they have what we call single circulation, because when you see in fish, they have two-chambered hearts, meaning the heart is divided into two, the heart of a fish, and by so doing, blood will just pass through it once. What are the two divisions? We have what we call atrium or auricles and ventricles. These are the two divisions that we have in fishes. The atrium, or you call it auricle, and ventricles. The heart of a fish is divided into two. And in that, the blood passes through the heart only once. It will pass through it once, and it will go back. That is why we call it single circulation. Don't forget, single circulation is common to organisms with two-chambered hearts. Now, double circulation is common to organisms with four-chambered. What do we mean by four-chambered heart? Meaning the heart is divided into four rather. Just like the first one is divided into atrium and ventricles. This one is divided into, majorly when you see the diagram of the heart, you see something like this. You see this. Now, this RA stands for right auricle or right atrium, while LA stands for left auricle or left atrium, while this RV stands for right ventricles. Then this LV stands for left ventricle. So the fourth division of a mammalian heart, like yours, like mine, we have 4 chambered hearts. The heart is divided into 4. Right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, left ventricle. So these are the 4 divisions. Now we are calling it a double circulatory system, the kind of circulatory system that will take place there, because the blood, which is the circulating fluid, is going to pass through the heart twice. Like I told us, this is classified based on the number of times the blood will pass through the heart. So for the 4-chambered heart organisms, the blood is going to pass there 2 times. And that is what brings about double circulation. Now, this double circulation is what results into what we call pulmonary and systemic circulation. In some textbooks, some authors will just tell you that the types or the groups of circulatory system, they will tell you there are 3. And the third one will be pulmonary and systemic. Now, this pulmonary and systemic circulation, they are the types of circulation under double circulation. And how do we come across that? In a mammal, we have something like this, the heart. We have the body. We have the heart again. Then we have lungs. Now, I have told us when I was telling you about the blood vessels that we have veins, we have arteries. Arteries takes blood away from the heart, while veins will take it back to the heart. Now, in the heart, the blood moves from the heart to the lungs. That's the first time it's going out now. The movement of the blood from the heart to the lung is what we refer to as pulmonary circulation. The question is, why is the blood moving from the heart to the lung? The blood is moving from the heart to the lung for oxygenation. For oxygenation, meaning to go and receive oxygen. You know, when you breathe in and breathe out, that oxygen that will go to your lung, the blood will go there to take that oxygen. That is when it becomes oxygenated blood. When the blood has been oxygenated, then it will return to the heart, ready now to be pumped into other parts of the body. So the movement of the blood from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart is what we call pulmonary circulation. The movement from the heart to the lungs. Take notes. Now, what is systemic circulation? Systemic circulation is the movement of the blood. Now, oxygenated blood. Remember, the blood has gone to the lungs to receive oxygen, and now it has been returned to the heart as oxygenated blood. That oxygenated blood is what the heart will now pump to other parts of the body. So the movement of blood from the heart now to other parts of the body is what we refer to as systemic circulation. It means the blood we are talking about has passed through this heart once. The first time is to go to the lungs, then back. The second time is from the heart now to other parts of the body. So that is what brings about systemic circulation. So I hope you understand. Do join us next week, same time, for another exciting session.